So borrowing for consumers is actually pretty painful and cumbersome. So getting an actual loan, if anyone's gotten one, there's a lot of paperwork that needs to be filled out, and it's gotten up to about 500 pages. Additionally, especially in the US, identity theft, so people stealing consumers' credit and identity and selling it on a dark web is a problem that's become pretty pervasive. And finally, lending's pretty inefficient. There's a lot of middlemen between the actual sources of capital and consumers getting loans. At times, there's 6 to 7 middlemen that sit between there, all taking margin. So that's a high level of inefficiency. So we know all this because we're actually in the business, the consumer lending business. We're processing about 20,000 consumer lending transactions per day right now. So we're seeing these inefficiencies that exist out there. The business that we're operating is called LeadPoint. So we've got $55 million of revenue in 2017. We're a profitable business approaching $10 million of profit. We did 7 million lending inquiries last year, resulting in 600,000 issuances of consumer credit. And we operate a database of 20 million consumers. And so we have thousands of lenders as customers. So all the big banks you see up on the screen here, we have under contract, and we've been doing business with them for a handful of years. They're the ones that are compensating us. That's where our revenue comes from, is from the actual lenders. And we also have many distribution partnerships in place with marquee publishers powering the business. So we've done a lot of the difficult parts of already building a company. It's an existing business. We got 175 employees. We have offices in Cape Town, Los Angeles, and Detroit. We got a A+ tech team, machine learning algorithms that are on their 5th generation. We operate a call center, and we have a sales infrastructure. So best of all, the founders have done it before. So myself, I'm Marc Diana, the CEO, and my co-founder, Per Pedersen, the CTO, we've started businesses back in the original .com boom, lowermybills.com, Commission Junction, savings.com, and we've transacted all those businesses through to corporate buyers. So we think that LeadPoint is really well positioned to solve the 3 big problems that we mentioned, and the way we're going to do that is through a product line that we call PrimeChain. So let me walk you through what PrimeChain actually is. First, PrimeChain makes borrows simpler for consumers while securing their personal data. The way we do it is we enable consumers to control a lending profile. And so whenever you want to get a loan, you have to fill out a bunch of information. That's a lending profile that banks and institutions are looking at. We put you in control of that lending profile opposed to third parties, and that's the way it works today. You choose who to share it with and when you want to share it with them for all different types of loans. So you're fully empowered to control that profile. And we keep it anonymous from lenders. So lenders don't really need to know who you are at the time they're giving you a quote for a loan. They just need to understand your financial wherewithal to service that loan. So next, PrimeChain streamlines workflow with smart contracts. So the way we do that is in the lending workflow, we're going to take an actual contract to get a loan between a consumer and a lending institution, put that on the blockchain with smart contracts. That'll work for all types of loans, cars, mortgages, personal loans, credit cards. Digitize all of this with smart contracts. And so we've been validating this with our 1,000 customers over the past 9 months and adopting standardization in smart contracting for lending. And then the final thing we'll do is we'll take the buckets of loans that exist and we'll make them be available on an exchange. So grade A, B, C, D paper will be able to trade to investors of loans, giving people in this room and everyone the opportunity to invest in lending on a global basis is the marketplace that we will create. Not supposed to talk about these. And so when we roll it out inside of LeadPoint, and so we're rolling out PrimeChain, the product, inside of an existing business. And so that gives us a few very unique advantages. First of all, we operate LeadPoint and Money Tips product lines where we've got 20 million consumers. We'll introduce them to their credit profiles. That'll cause them to grab them and create them right out of the gate. Second of all, we have 1,000 lending customers, as I mentioned, so we'll hold their hands and pull them into a new era of lending, giving them a higher quality consumer inquiry to lend against while reducing their cost of processing and also reduce their default rates. So it's a big market that we're playing in. It's a $30 trillion market in the US, $50+ trillion on a global basis, and it's growing at 5%. So when we actually roll this out, what will happen is we're going to get a 20-time increase in the number of transactions that we do per consumer. And so currently we get 1 touch per consumer as they flow through a B2B model. When we roll out PrimeChain and we house your actual credit profile that you're using every time you get a loan, you're going to get 20 loans over your lifetime. Similarly, when we provide that credit profile to a lender, it's a more high quality inquiry. We'll be able to get more compensation from lenders for the loans they're funding because it's more efficient for them. So there's going to be a 4x increase in the revenue that we're doing. So when you roll that against our current revenue stream from 2017 times 20 times 4, it results in a $4 billion increase. But the big story is to really roll this out globally. And so there's 2 billion emerging middle-class citizens on a global basis that don't have access to capital and lending in many countries around the globe. And so we'll perfect the algorithms with the customer base that we have in the US, the UK, and Brazil, and then we'll expand that out to a global basis to enable, a student in Sri Lanka to be able to get a loan to go to school. Someone might want to get a car in another part of the world, they'll be able to get that, and we can supply that to these individuals with secure contracts and lending. So that's what PrimeChain's all about. I'll be out here on the floor for the rest of the day. Any questions, feel free to give me a visit. Thank you.